Okay, let's go for it. Flexibility today. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Happy Friday. So, Flexibility Friday. We're going to sit in our chair for today's stretching routine, and then next Friday we'll be on the ground. But if the ground is a problem for you, you can do the bed. The bed works just as fine. Let's start off with our legs, and let's start stretching the hamstrings. So one leg is extended out straight out in front of you, other leg is bent and supported. You're kind of sitting close to the edge of your chair, but not quite. Right? So you're kind of maybe several inches, if not like 5 or 6 inches away from the edge of your chair. And then from there, you're just reaching forward. I want you to reach down with 2 hands, if you can. And so your hands are going to slide down the shin, reaching towards the ankle. Maybe you're able to grab your toes. If so, go for it. So wherever you're grabbing is fine. You should definitely be below the knee, hopefully. That is the plan. That's a good sign of flexibility. If you're reaching below the knee and you're on the shin, close to the ankle. If your hands are close to the ankle or if you're grabbing your toes, it's pretty good flexibility. But for me, because my arms are a little longer, this looks a little misleading in the sense where it looks like I have pretty good flexibility. I mean, I kind of do. It's average, but it's not above average just because I can grab my legs. My arms are kind of long, right? So just because I can grab my foot doesn't mean I have extremely flexible hamstrings. They're average. They're not bad, but if I really had great flexibility, then maybe I would be able to get my palms on the bottom of my shoe. Okay, so let's switch. Other leg. So you want to straighten out that leg. Hands slide down the shin. Stretching. You want to try to keep your legs straight. Remember, both hands. Now, adding that second hand in really makes this challenging, the stretch challenging, which is good. You want to challenge yourself even on the stretching. You want to get to that maximum point of your stretch, but within your comfort level, right? You don't want to overstretch and overdo it to the point where it leads to an injury and you pull your muscle. You always want to be gentle. Gentle stretching, always. And you gradually build your flexibility over time. Like you can see, I started around the shins, now I'm getting close to the ankle, and now I'm ready to reach for my toes, but all that took time. It was a process of building my flexibility gradually over time. So we're really stretching out the back of our thighs, the back of our legs. Nice and easy. Come up. Take a little break. Go all the way back in your chair. Sit all the way back. Your lower back is pushed up against the backrest of your chair. And we're going to get one leg up. I started the stretching with my left leg on my hamstrings, so I'm going to get back into my left leg for this stretch, which is the figure 4. So from here, crossing one leg over onto the other leg, so one leg is at a 90 degrees on the floor and it's supportive. The other leg is bent at a 90 degrees and it's on top and resting on that down leg. So for some of you, this might be the maximum point of your stretch. Others, if you need it, you can push down on that knee. And then if you really need extra range of motion and you need a little bit extra push on that leg, then what you would do is you would move your bottom foot, the foot that's on the ground, you would move it forward, so that you can lower your leg, lower your thigh, and then you can lean into it. I don't expect most of you to do this. It's a tough one to do to get to this point. But if you're there, great. It's all relative. You should be feeling it on the hip, that same side hip of the leg that's up. So if my left leg is up, I'm going to feel it on my left hip. So if you're feeling it around the hip, glute, butt area, you're there. Doesn't matter what position your body is in. If you're feeling it in that area, then you're good to go. Just light pressure. Again, always being gentle to your body, building the stretch easy over time. You never want to force it or overdo it. Just nice and slow and steady. Right, switch legs. Other leg up. So we'll start slow, right? We first get the bottom leg set up at a 90-degree angle, and we cross over that other leg, and it's bent. Some of you might be okay right here. Some of you might need the extra added pressure to push down. And if this is getting easier to do, where you're pushing down with your hand and extending that arm, that's when you know you're ready to lean into it a little bit more with your elbow and forearm. You extend that bottom foot out away from your body, away from the chair, and then that elbow and forearm are really pushing into that inner leg, inner thigh. Again, it takes time to build flexibility. As long as you're feeling it in the hip, you're good to go. So for me, I'm feeling it on my right side. So I'm going to spend a little extra time on my right side because my right side is tighter. If you are aware of which side is tighter, why don't you go to that side now? If you're already there and you know that this is the tighter side for you, don't move, just stay in this position. If you notice the other side was a little tighter for you and a little more challenging, then go to that side. So decide on which one is best for you or which one needed the more work, really is what we're deciding. We're spending a little extra time on the tighter side so that we can bring balance to the hips, to our body. So that is the goal. We're going to just spend a little extra time on this side. My right side is always tighter than my left. It's just, I'm right side dominant. Tend to favor doing things with my right side. It's normal. And so the way you combat your dominant side is to just spend a little extra time stretching that side. Another 15, 20 seconds, and then we'll move on. All right, easy, put that leg down. So this next stretch has a little bit to do with your lower back, your hips, your legs, torso. So it's a little challenging. I'm going to go through different options. Easiest option would be to find an object or a stack of books. I'm just going to use this weight ball. But if you have like a yoga block, not everyone has a yoga block, but everyone has books. So if you have books, you can do like a stack of 5 books. You're just elevating the surface or the height of the floor, so it's easier for you to pretend like you're touching the ground. And this is just in case you have lower back, hip, mobility issues. So we're going to start slow, and you can make adjustments as we go on. So a stack of books, a yoga block, if you have some kind of elevated surface, something where you can put your hands on that'll provide support, stable, strong support, about 6 inches off the ground, maybe higher. You want to set that down on the ground in between your feet. We're going to come down with 2 hands. So just place your hands on top of whatever object you have on the floor in between your feet. And so the challenge is trying to keep, I'm going to give you a side view, trying to keep somewhat of a straight back. Right? In other words, you don't want to round your spine and create that hunchback. Avoid that hunchback. We want to try to keep a straight, neutral spine. Now you're going to release one hand, and that hand that you release, that arm is going to come up towards the ceiling. The other hand's going to stay down. The other arm's going to stay down, pointing towards the floor. Reach up. If you can't reach up with a straight arm, bend your arm, and you try to raise through your elbow. And you lift and point up. Bring that hand back down, and now I'll give you the front view. And so now the other arm is going to move and rotate up. So there's always going to be one hand on that surface or on that object that's on the floor. If you can't reach up to the ceiling with a straight arm, bend your arm and reach with your elbow or point up with your elbow, however you want to think about it. And then we come back down to the ground. Now, if you feel like this is pretty easy, you don't have to use the ball. You are just going to the floor. And this is maximum mobility right here, where you can get really low, down to the ground, and same thing. Rotate, reach, come back down, other side. Remember, there's always one hand on the floor. Rotate, reach, and come back down and take a quick little break. So hopefully you figured out what you can do with your hands, either on the floor or on an elevated surface. So that is your challenge, and that's what we're going to work on. So we're going to go through that. We're going to try to get through 5 repetitions on each side. Repetitions meaning a count, a 1 count, then the other side is another 1 count. So we're going to do 5 on each side. So let's go for it. Bring your hands down. Remember to try to keep a straight spine, neutral spine. One hand down, whatever arm you want to pick up first, I don't care, it doesn't matter. Lift, rotate, hold it at the top. Now from here, your arm is either straight or bent. You decide. Come back down. Other hand, other arm, lift, reach, hold it at the top. Now if you're not quite at the top, it's okay. As long as you're trying to reach and rotate up towards the ceiling, come back down. So that was 1 repetition on each side. Now we're on the 2nd repetition, other side. Lift, reach, hold it, come back down. Other arm. Come down. That's 2 on each side. We're starting our 3rd, other side. Come down. Other side. All right, we're almost there. More than halfway. Other side. This is set or rep number 4. Come back down. Other side. We're almost there. Go down. Last repetition on each side. Reach, turn, twist. I know it's kind of tough. Do what you can. Come down. Reach, rotate. Easy. Come down, and then very, very easy. Come up. You can even start with one elbow, one forearm on the thigh, and then get the other one coming up onto the other thigh, and easy as you come all the way up out of it. Now you're going to sit in the middle of your chair. We're going to continue to work on rotating our back. So from here, both hands are going to turn and rotate. I'm going to twist to my left side. I'm going to grab my left arm bar on my chair. If you don't have an arm bar, you're going to grab your leg and the seat of your chair, and you're just trying to use your hands and arms to help you turn. And the challenge is just trying to look over your shoulder, trying to look behind your body. Back facing forward, go to the other side. So you're just using your arms and your legs and the chair to give your body leverage to help you turn. Now remember to always be gentle. Be gentle on your body. Be careful. One more time to the other side, the first side that we turn towards. For me, that was my left. So I'm trying to look over my left shoulder. Come into the front. One more time to the other side. Turn, rotate. All right, moving on. Let's work on our neck a little bit. So sitting really, really tall. Just drop your head, chin straight down towards your sternum, towards your clavicle. And just let your head weight and gravity do its job and pull your head down. Now you have to try to relax your shoulders, right? Don't shrug. Try not to be tense in your shoulders and neck. I need you to relax your shoulders, drop them down, then bring the head, chin down. If you need a little extra support or added stretch, then you very gently put your hands on the back of your head, and then you try to push your chin down towards that clavicle. So you're applying light pressure to the back of your head, bringing the chin closer to the clavicle. Easy. Be gentle. Nice and easy, come out of that. From right there, tilt the head to the side. You're trying to bring one ear closer or close to the top of your shoulder. So you're just tilting one head down. And again, remember to sit tall and relax your shoulders. Don't bring your shoulder up to your ear. It's cheating. Relax. Stretch out the neck. Some of it is cheating. What it is really is you're tense and you're tightening up. And so if your shoulders are shrugging, you are actually shortening the muscle, which defeats the purpose of the entire stretch. We are trying to lengthen and stretch the muscle. So it's important for you to relax your shoulders so that you can effectively stretch out your neck. Go to the other side. You're just trying to bring that ear down towards the top of the shoulder. Relax your shoulders as much as you can. One more time, bring the chin straight down towards the clavicle. If you need that extra pressure, apply pressure. right, nice and easy. Let's work on our rotator cuffs. Shoulders, shoulder mobility. So you can actually get all the way back in your chair and kind of relax a little bit. We're going to bring one arm straight out in front of you. Other arm is down. Keep it down, out of the way. So one arm, I'm going to start with my right. If you want to start with your right, let's just make it easy so you can follow along. Right arm straight out in front. Come over to your left side with your right arm. Your left hand is going to go against that arm and push it in. So my left hand is pressing against my elbow and pushing my entire right arm in close to my chest. And you just hold it here. You should feel a stretch happening in the shoulder. This isn't the rotator cuff stretch. We'll get there. It's actually a mobility exercise for your rotator cuff. But we're going to do this one first just to loosen up the shoulders a little bit so that that rotator cuff exercise is a little easier to do, because it can be challenging. Okay, so now we're going to go to the other side, which can be tricky. So relax your right arm just in your lap. Left arm straight out in front of you. Come across to the right side of your body. Right hand pushes in on that left elbow, bringing it in close to your chest. Hold it there. Hopefully you were able to go to the other side with relative ease. I know sometimes this can be challenging and a little confusing to go to the left and right side. So hopefully you figured it out. Nice and easy, come out of that. So we're going to move on. Right hand, right arm straight out in front of you. Now get your palm to face up towards the ceiling. So palm is facing up towards the ceiling. Bend your arm at the elbow and touch your shoulder. So right now my right hand is touching my right shoulder. From here, my left hand is going to push from below, get that elbow to point straight up towards the ceiling. If that's easy for you, then reach up from above and pull that elbow behind your head. And sometimes this can be challenging to get into and to hold, so kind of just see where you're at, see what you can do. You're either pushing from below or pulling from above your head or behind your head. And you should feel a pretty good stretch in the back of that arm and a little bit into the armpit, rib cage area, shoulder, back. It's latissimus dorsi, which is our back. There's also the teres minor in there. There's actually a lot in there. So the tricep is involved, which is the back of the upper arm, shoulder, back, and all the other little muscles in between. There's a lot of muscles in that whole entire shoulder complex. So wherever you feel it is wherever you feel it. It's all relative. That's just letting you know where you're tight and where you need work. So for me, I'm really feeling this in my tricep, not so much in my shoulder, my lats, but more in my arm. Which would make sense because I did an arm workout a couple of days ago, so it's tight. So now, other side, relax. Left arm out, palm is facing up on that left hand. Bend the elbow, touch your shoulders with your fingers, or your left shoulder with your fingers. Your right hand is going to push that left arm up from below. If that is easy, then you're pulling from above. And you're pulling a little bit behind your head. And see, so for me on this side, I'm not feeling it so much in my tricep. I'm feeling it more in that armpit shoulder area, really. Which would make sense because with that arm workout that I did, we were doing shoulders, and my left shoulder is weaker than my right. It's from an old injury from my high school days. So it's just a little unstable, it's just a little weaker, and I know that. So that would make sense for me to have that shoulder be a little tighter. So it's not always the same between the left and right side. It's never symmetrical in our body. Tightness is, you kind of feel it where you feel it based on injuries, past experiences, sports, exercises from previous days, the way you sleep, the way you sit, it just depends. So, again, it's always creating awareness of where you need to stretch. You kind of just use it as a lesson and you kind of go back to those stretches as needed. Moving on, we're going to work on those rotator cuffs. So real quick, chest stretch. And this one can be really tricky. Don't slide out of your chair. I'm giving you a side view. You're going to sit close to the edge of your chair, but your feet are flat and out in front of you. Legs are bent so you're stable and supported, and then go ahead and lie all the way down. And you're literally reclining back, but there's a lot of open space between your lower back, mid back, maybe a little bit in the mid upper back, bottom of the shoulder blades. Really not touching the chair. The only thing really touching the chair is your bum and your upper shoulders. Feet are on the ground. Legs are supporting you. Don't slide out of your chair, okay? Arms are just going out to the side. Now, if you can rest your head back, great. If not, then it's going to be a little uncomfortable just for a little bit so that you have to hold your neck up and support it. But here, just bringing your arms out to the side, you should feel a pretty big stretch through the chest and shoulders, maybe the biceps. Again, wherever you feel it is wherever you feel it. If your arm bars are in the way and stopping you, then you may need to adjust and get a little taller so that your arms can go a little bit above those rests and you can get a little bigger range of motion. So you kind of have to manipulate your body on the chair. And like I said, you should feel a big stretch through the chest, shoulders, and arms. And that's good enough. Let's move on. Now we can get into the rotator cuff. Okay, rotators. So sometimes it can just be challenging to get into this position right here, which is a 90 degrees in your arms. So your posture is real tall. You want to get 90 degrees in your arms. So one way to look at that is to make sure that your wrist is above your elbow, then your elbow is right at your shoulder height. So you want to raise the elbow to shoulder height, then get your wrist above your elbow and make sure that your forearm is perpendicular to the floor. From here, you want to look straight ahead, and you should be able to see your hands and forearms in your side vision. They call it their peripheral vision, your side vision. So if you really can't see your hands or your elbows, that means that you're really stretching and you're bringing your arms and hands way back behind your body. That's not necessary. I want you to bring your hands and forearms and elbows forward until you can see them in your side vision. Once you see it in your side vision, just hold it there. And try to keep your elbows fixed in space, right? So the elbows aren't going to move much as far as elevation. They shouldn't go any higher or any lower than your shoulder height. But your hands now are actually going to dip down and come down. Now pause. Right now, you should still be at a 90-degree angle. Your elbow should still be at shoulder height. But now your wrist is right in front of your elbow, and your forearm is completely parallel to the floor. But you're still holding that 90 degrees. Now from here, you're going to continue on and go down to the bottom. And so the challenge is trying to maintain the 90 degrees and trying to get your forearms to point down to the floor. But your elbows are still up at shoulder height, and you're trying to maintain the 90 degrees. This is really tough. Not everyone can do this. Come all the way back up to vertical. So the rotation and the mobility happens at the bottom. Right around here, once you go beyond parallel, this is where the challenge and the mobility work starts to happen. Again, you're still trying to keep your elbows in your peripheral vision, your hands in your peripheral vision, elbows at shoulder height, and those hands, forearms are pointing down to the floor. Now, my forearms and hands aren't quite perpendicular to the floor. It may look like it from the front view, but from the side view, you can kind of tell that my hands, let's see if you can see it there, my hands are kind of pointing forward and they're in front of my elbow a little bit. And that's about as far as I can go. Some of you might be right around here, a little bit below your elbow, and that's fine. So you're just doing what you can. Challenging the shoulder. Now let's just work through it. You just go all the way up, all the way down, without pausing. So you come up, get to vertical, come down, get as close to vertical as you can, and then just come right back up to top. And that's the range of motion that you want to try to get through your shoulder, your rotator cuff. It's a tough move. It's a very hard move. You're probably going to start to feel your upper arm and shoulder start to work and contract and activate. It's going to start to feel like your arm's getting heavy, and then you can't hold your arms up anymore. That's okay. You're actually working on that shoulder and building a little bit of strength and stability by doing this exercise. It's a very therapeutic exercise. Rehabilitation for the rotator cuff. Post-surgery, even pre-surgery, people who are going in for rotator cuff surgery will start to do this exercise before they go in so that their recovery time is quicker coming out of surgery because they strengthen that muscle and all the other little muscles around it. Last one, coming down and stop. All right. Last one we're going to do, and then we're done. Little trick. I want you to kick off your shoes barefoot. If you can, if you don't mind, figure four. If you don't mind it, if you can handle it, you're going to grab your foot and you're going to apply pressure with your thumb to the bottom of your foot. You are going to give yourself a little bit of a massage. So you're doing the figure four, and you are just applying pressure to your foot, the bottom of your foot, with your thumb. If you can, sometimes people have arthritis in their fingers, their thumbs, so this might be a little challenging to do. Maybe you can bend your finger and use the knuckle, maybe dig in that way, or you can make an entire fist and dig the knuckles into your arch of your foot. Again, that's a little challenging to do, but it's also challenging to do if you have arthritic fingers and hands. But if you can do this, just kind of move things around. Kind of get around the knuckles of the toes. Maybe pull on the toes a little bit. Just kind of stretch things out, move them around, creating mobility. Just playing with your feet. Some people feel weird about touching their feet. I get it. I have socks on. It's all good. I'm going to wash my hands after this. Don't worry. But you're just moving. You're just grabbing the heel with your entire hand and squeezing your heel. You're just getting some mobility, some blood flow in there. Squeezing that foot. I mean, you could just literally squeeze your foot. Squeezing the toes, moving the toes around. Switch feet. Switch to the other foot. So that's all you're doing. And you should feel, just by putting that foot down, you can tell the difference between the two. You can feel, a sense of release in that foot. Like it's a little bit more relaxed. Even though we didn't do much, we're just kind of moving things around. Applying light pressure to the heel, to the arch, to the knuckles of your toes. Moving those toes around, kind of spreading them apart from each other, pulling on them a little bit. Just lengthening everything and moving stuff around. Your feet are so important to everything that you do. They are your foundation. You are on your feet when you walk, when you stand. So it's important to take care of the feet, to massage your feet. If you have a tennis ball, rolling on a tennis ball with your foot is perfect. So just little tricks of the trade, important little things to do, and of course there are all these little nerve endings and pressure points in your foot. And so you're releasing these endorphins, you're applying a little pressure to your feet, and that's it. We are all done. Great job. Bravo. That's it. Relax. Stay barefoot for a while, just for a little bit. Kind of enjoy the looseness of your feet being relaxed, because they're always constricted. As soon as I put my shoes back on, my feet are confined to the pattern, the foot pattern that has been created in the insole. So my foot literally will conform to that pattern that has been imprinted on my insole, and then everything around my foot is kind of constricting it like a shell. So it's always good to try to have looseness and mobility in your feet so they can just be grounded. Sometimes people can't do that. They need insoles, they need the support all day, every day. You do what you can with what you have. And that's it, guys and girls. Bravo! We're all done. Great work. Enjoy the rest of your day. And happy Friday. Although every day is Friday for you guys, or maybe Saturday for you guys, or whatever your favorite day of the week is. You're living it every day, and I am so jealous. So enjoy it. And have a good one. Yes, you're welcome. Have a good day.